Welcome to Prime Time, boils and ghouls. Bandit back with you again with another Halloween-related video, horror movie-related video, whatever. This time around, I figure I'd talk about one of my favorite franchises in all of the horror genre. It made a star practically out of most of its cast. Stars out of most of its cast. And the first movie in the franchise just had a cultural significance. Of course, I'm talking about the Nightmare on Elm Street series. I love this series of movies. It made an impact in the 80s because you had the movies beforehand, like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Halloween, Friday the 13th. They were good, but, could get formulaic at times, especially with the repeated sequels that came out. Now, granted, Nightmare on Elm Street fell into that as well, but it was so well done, especially the first movie. Wes Craven knew what he was doing with this movie, and he knew what he wanted. He had a definitive vision for it, and I think that kind of got muddied with the sequels that came out because Wes Craven had his vision, and then Bob Shaye had his vision, Wes Craven just wanted one movie. That was it. That's all he needed. Now, to his credit, Bob Shaye saw the potential in A Nightmare on Elm Street, and he kind of had a feeling that this would be the thing that would lift New Line Cinema up to the ranks of, say, a Fox or a Paramount, Universal, something like that. And it did, New Line Cinema was the house that Freddy Krueger built for the longest time. I don't think without A Nightmare on Elm Street you would have had movies like the Lord of the Rings trilogy. But Bob Shaye had this vision of the film being a franchise. That's not what Wes Craven wanted. And Wes Craven and Bob Shaye kind of had a falling out over the whole ordeal. Which, Wes Craven wouldn't return until the third movie and then kind of washed his hands of everything until after Freddy's Dead, The Final Nightmare, when he wrote and directed the brilliant New Nightmare. And Bob Shaye and Wes Craven just kind of had to sit down afterwards, after Freddy's Dead, and, Wes aired all of his grievances out about the franchise, where it went, and how he could just kind of right the ship around. And I think he did a fantastic job. After that, it would be another 10 years before we got another Freddy Krueger movie with Freddy versus Jason. Now, of course, that was the Clash of Titans type deal. And then, again, 2004 would be the last time Robert Englund would don the makeup of Freddy Krueger before the 2010 remake starring Jackie Earle Haley. Now, we could go on and on about the remake, but let me just I think I've said this before in a few different videos. My thoughts on the Nightmare on Elm Street remake. Didn't like the cast that they had for the teenagers. For the most part, I thought some of them were okay. Katie Cassidy, I like her, honestly and truthfully. Liked her in Arrow. Liked her in this. Liked her in Taken. She's been in a lot of movies. So I didn't mind her. Some of the other cast were just kind of unrelatable. I can't remember his name right now, but he played Quentin in the movie. But he was okay. I absolutely did not care for Rooney Mara, though. Her Nancy was just, I've said this time and time again, was wooden, was hollow, lacked the charisma that Heather Langenkamp had. And was just, to me, wasn't believable. And then she did an interview afterwards, just bashing the character. And why did you even agree to the movie then? Like, why? But I will say, given everything, Jackie Earle Haley gave it his all with what he was given, and he did an admirable job. Honestly and truthfully, I have no gripe with him. He did great in the role. It looks like he even savored that role a little bit. He kind of sunk his teeth into it, and God bless Jackie Earle Haley for trying to make a chicken salad of chicken. So that was the last time we saw a Nightmare on Elm Street movie in 2010. Now, there have been rumors persistent about another reboot to the franchise. Where would that go? So there are a lot of things to consider with another reboot of the Nightmare franchise. Just look at how I was going to say how well received, but it was not well received at all. Look at how panned the last remake was. Like, hardly anybody liked. I enjoyed it myself. I didn't like the idea of the remake, of a remake, I should say, but I enjoyed it myself. I thought it was okay, but you know, I'm not gonna defend it because I just thought it was okay. I didn't think it was as great as the original movie. I don't think it's as memorable as the original movie, but I didn't hate it. I quite enjoyed it myself, but not to the point where I defend it. If you hated it, you hated it. I'm not going to change your mind on it, and I don't want to change your mind on it if you hated it. But you have to consider that. You have to consider who would direct this movie, who has that vision that Wes Craven had, who would write the movie, who would star in the movie, who would be Freddy Krueger. Because you have to remember, we've only seen majorly two people play Freddy Krueger, Robert Englund and Jackie Earle Haley. Who could tap into that twistedness that Robert Englund tapped into? There have been a lot of names bandied about, and honestly, I kind of dig it if Kevin Bacon played Freddy Krueger in a remake. That's just me, though. I think that would be really cool. Who would be the central cast of characters who would fight Freddy? What would the story be? Where would the setting be? Would you put it back in another version of Springwood? Would you put it somewhere else? Because everyone knows the general mythos of Freddy Krueger, child murderer, alleged child molester as well. If I was monetized, that would quickly get me demonetized saying that. But anyway, it's the truth. Who lived in the Ohio town of Springwood, who murdered children. When he was arrested, somebody signed the search warrant in the completely wrong place. Case was thrown out. The parents of Springwood took it upon themselves to seek vengeance for their children and burned Freddy alive in his boiler room. And like he said in Freddy vs. Jason, when I was alive, I may have been a little naughty. But after I died, I became something much worse. And, we have 6 movies to prove that. Well, 7 if you include Freddy vs. Jason. I don't include New Nightmare in that canon because that was something totally different. Heather Langenkamp was playing a fictionalized version of herself. Oh, have you seen the trailer for Dylan's New Nightmare? Well, if you haven't, go check it out. But I'm getting off topic here. They got Miko Hughes to reprise the role of Dylan. I like that. So there are a lot of things to consider when you're talking about a remake. You also have to consider budget. Like, what would you realistically spend on a movie like this? I don't remember the exact budget of the remake. I think it was like 10 million. Could have been a little more. I'll have to check that out later. All I know for sure is it did not make back what they spent on it. So it was definitely a flop. So what would you how would you go about this? I know they got the backing of Warner Brothers because in the Turner merger, New Line Cinema was folded into Warner Brothers. So now anything would be done under the WB banner. So you have the backing of Warner Brothers, but you need more than that. You need a solid budget. You need a great director. You need a damn good script, and you need someone good to play Freddy Krueger. So how would you go about that? So for my unadulterated opinion, I think it is time to let Freddy Krueger finally rest in peace. He's had his moment. He's had his time. He is a legendary icon of the horror genre. No one will ever forget him. Everybody loves Robert Englund. I love Robert Englund. I met the man. I've shown this time and time again, but I will show it anytime I can. I met him. I got his autograph. I got my picture taken with him. He is a delight to talk to. He's so easygoing, so friendly. And I'm glad I got my autograph from him when I did because I've heard that his prices have gone way, way up, and it is just insane. But everybody knows Freddy Krueger. He is in the ethos. Ether. Ethos is a trait. What am I talking about? He's, everybody knows who Freddy Krueger is. It's like Heather Langenkamp said in New Nightmare. He's like King Kong, Santa Claus. Everybody knows who Freddy Krueger is. And I think it's time we let Freddy finally rest in peace. We've had 7, 8, 9 movies with him. We've had TV series with him. Countless comic books. What more do we need? Like, if we wanted to, we could probably do like a if they wanted to, they could probably do like a Netflix series. This is something that I've thought about and I would love to see done. How about if you want to keep going with Freddy Krueger, how about a miniseries, TV series on Netflix? This would be something that you'd have to do on something like Netflix, FX, HBO, Showtime, one of those premium channels. How about a prequel series about how Freddy Krueger became who he was? Like not the dream-stalking dream demon, but the child murderer. How did he become a child murderer? Like, we saw glimpses of that in Freddy's Dead: The Final Nightmare, which is something, in my top 5 least favorite movies, I should have praised the movie for, because we saw that backstory of how Freddy Krueger, was, the typical psychopathic traits, killing animals, self-harm, when he's sitting there in the boiler with the straight razor across his chest. So we saw that, but why don't we expand upon that? Make it, have the series of how Fred, just call him Fred Krueger, don't even call him Freddy, because he's Freddy in the nightmares. But, his first prototype glove, how that came to be. This is something I would love to see if you want to keep Freddy Krueger going. Another thing that, is keeping Freddy Krueger's name alive out there is all the fan films. Like, there are some fantastic fan films, like The Confession of Fred Krueger, Don't Fall Asleep. Just some fantastic movies. Dylan's New Nightmare. I cannot wait till that one comes out. Some fantastic fan films with fantastic people making these movies. I highly recommend, if you're a Nightmare on Elm Street fan like me, I highly recommend watching those movies. They're all on YouTube. They're not that long. They're not like full-length movies. They're like 40 minutes. They're easy watches. And I definitely recommend watching them if you're as hardcore into Nightmare on Elm Street as I am. But, I think as far as movies go, it's time to let Freddy Krueger go. So that is just my opinion. If you have a different opinion and would like to see another Freddy Krueger movie, let me know in the comments section down below. Now, before we wrap up this video, I got an announcement to make, because I'm already thinking ahead to next year and the Halloween content that I want to put out on the channel. And I've always thought about doing something like this, and I think after thinking about it, next year I'm going to do something really, really special. Now, just the other day you saw my top 5 least favorite horror movies of all time. Well, my favorite horror movies outrank my least favorite horror movies. I've got a ton of favorites in that category. So next year for Halloween, get ready, because I'm going to be counting down my 31 favorite horror movies of all time every day in October 2020. Starting October 1st, going to October 31st, with, of course, the 31st being my all-time favorite horror movie. So, I think I've probably mentioned that before, what it is, so that won't be much of a shock, but you'll be, I'll have that for next year. Because I was thinking, well, maybe after doing my top 5 least favorite, maybe I should do my 5 favorite, but I'm going to need time to rank those, and there are just so many, too many to mention. So 31 days, my 31 favorite horror movies of all time. So get ready for that in October 2020. Alright, well, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. I'd really appreciate that. Like I said, if you have an opinion about this and would like to see another Freddy Krueger movie, Nightmare on Elm Street movie, let me know in the comment section down below. I'd really love to hear about it. And, maybe you're right about it if you want another Nightmare on Elm Street movie. Personally, I like my idea of a prequel series, but maybe not everybody would dig that. So let me know in the comments section down below. Don't forget to share this video anywhere you can with all your Nightmare on Elm Street fans. In the description, you're going to see a link to my Redbubble store with all the Irish Band merchandise, t-shirts, tank tops, ladies' racerbacks, leggings, travel mugs, coffee mugs, cases for iPhone, iPad, Samsung, whatever your heart's desire, stickers as well. Be sure to check that out in the link below. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe. And if you're already subscribed, tap that bell and you'll be notified whenever I go live with a brand new video, because brand new videos will be coming. I'm going to have an update video coming up very, very soon of why I've been silent since the last video when I said I'm back. But we'll get into that at a different time. And then booking videos are coming back. I am going to get to the amazing life of Scatman John very, very soon. So stick around for that, guys. Thank you so much for joining me for this weekend of horror. And I will talk to you again very, very soon.